do this. Okay, right. Talk about, how did you get started in sales? Obviously, you already mentioned the, the sales piece of it, the personal training, but then, you found automotive sales, right? Talk about how you get started in sales in general. Talk about that.
Okay. So I was like dibbling, dabbling, all different type of jobs, and I actually had a friend of mine who also played football. It's a common thing to see a lot of athletes. In my case, a lot of football players transition into sales
Mm.
because I mean we have to talk all the time. We have to talk to all different types of people, and most importantly, sell ourselves. So I see a lot of people just make their transition naturally into sales.
Mm.
And I mean, sales is one thing that you can learn a lot of things outside of the academia world to prepare for that role. And just I just wanted to bring this up too. My major communications, even though it's not a very difficult major, the skills that I learned and just understanding the importance of communication and understanding how to relate to different people and make sure they understand that the message that you're conveying was very, very, very important and helped me tremendously when it came to sales.
Mm.
So my friend, like I said, old teammate, also played football with me. He was like, "Hey, I found this role. It's in sales, automotive sales." I was like, "Oh, I'm not too sure about that." But I something told me just go ahead, jump in it. Because they a lot of great benefits. The pay was pretty decent at the time, so I was like, "Hey, let me just go for it, and I went for it and I stuck with it for 5 years and eventually got to management before I made my transition into tech sales.
That, I love that. I love that, Akira, because here's the thing, right? A lot of people choose not to go into sales because of their experience with automotive sales, selling them cars.
So very true, very true, very true.
So you went into car sales, right? And talk about that, right? Obviously, you got promoted, so you must have crushed it within 5 years. You've
Yeah.
learned a lot. Talk about what that experience was like. Like because when I think about when I would say this early on in my career, when I was an engineer, just coming out of school, green, very naive and so forth, watching the movies and so forth. You think about sales being the guys with the slick hair and all they do is, want to say you something. How can I get you there? Blah, 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 upgrade you. All that extra stuff. And it's like, I always said to myself, nah, that will never be me because that is not who I am as a person. Some people can come to you and sell, the color on your skin, right? And that's what they do because they have that
Yeah.
gift of gab and, the ability to influence you to do stuff that you don't want to do. And quite naturally, that's not who I am as a person. I'm a people person, relationship builder. You trust me, I'm going to help you succeed if you purchase from me, right? And, a lot of people are turned off from sales and car salesmen because their experiences have been terrible. I mean, I must say, even my
Yeah.
experiences of buying cars, you know what you're walking into a lot of the times. And sometimes it's like a cringe, right? Even when you walk onto the lot, it's like, I don't
You
want
can
to
feel
see
it.
you. Like, don't talk to me, right? All I want to do is look at cars and let me do my thing before you have to come over here and, talk about test drives, how much money I make and all this other stuff. I don't want to hear all that, right?
Yeah.
I just want to see the car,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you went into this line of work knowing that this was quite different because, it's just different. It's a different
Yeah. Very.
vibe. It's a different scene.
Yeah.
What allowed for you to have success into car sales? What was different about you, Akira?
So I will say I totally agree with you. Most the expectation of used car salesmen is very sleazy and very slick people. Like you said, with slick hair. So I made sure I wanted to come in and be different because
Mm.
I'm obviously coming in with no hair. So I so so I wanted to make sure I was different. And also, so the company I did work for was Drive Time. The way they had everything set up was completely different
Mm.
and allowed me to be myself. And I believe a large part of my success had to do with people understanding that I was genuine.
Mm.
That was number one. So because the setup was basically you are going to be qualified for vehicles that your income and your credit allows you to be qualify for.
Okay.
You know, so the down payments are going to set that. So it's more so I'm being an advisor rather than being a shark and pushing people. You know, it was more so, and like these are things that I didn't even know that I was developing that was going to help me in tech sales. So I had to ask those qualifying questions. You know, I had to ask those gap questions. You know, ask those questions like, hey, what are you currently doing? You know, what vehicle are you currently driving? What vehicle do you want to drive? How many kids do you have? You know, asking all these questions, what features are you looking for? So once we take care of the financing aspect, we understand what down payments work for what. We have a handful of vehicles to choose from after I ask these questions. Find out, hey, you have a huge family. Okay, let's focus on SUVs, vans, things of that nature. You want certain features. Okay, let's not focus on older model vehicles. Let's focus on some newer model vehicles if you want Wi-Fi in your vehicle or you want a touchscreen. You know, so just asking those qualifying questions, those gap questions to make sure I get enough information so I could inform the customer on the proper decision to make.
I love that. I absolutely love that you said that, because to be quite honest with you, that is the same thing that goes on in the tech sales space as well. It's just a different industry. You have to ask the questions. You have to qualify. You have to prospect. And I would almost assume too, Akira, that you had customers that you had to keep in contact with to see if they wanted to upgrade and so forth. So you had a contact list of prospects that, you know, you wanted to continue to sell or upsell, or somebody to get the latest and greatest model and stuff like that from you as well too, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just like anything else, there's a lot of competition. You know, a lot of competition. So you have to constantly reach out to the prospects and be like, hey, you know, you should come in, build that excitement, build that rapport, you know, so because at the end of the day, you're the only person that can convince them to come in, because they have different options. You know, at the time, we weren't the only used car dealership that had a model similar to that one. So we had to constantly, hey, you know, come in, you know, check it out. We have new inventory in, you know, the process is real easy. So basically, things that the company made sure that we could lean on to try to get customers in was very, very, very important, because the competition is heavy. Just like any other software product that you're selling, you know, competition will be there. So you have to make sure that you stand out from the bunch.
And you were able to do it at a successful level to get yourself promoted to a manager. Talk about that. Like, you know, obviously you went from the floor to managing sales reps. Talk about that journey of you leveling up.
It's a very humble journey. Very humble journey. I started off, you know, I'm very, very, very big on management and coaching. You know, it's a lot of people out here who get these positions and they really don't take advantage of the position that they have to really develop people, you know, and really care for others, you know, putting other people up, like putting other people up front, you know, putting them first. That's one thing I feel as though you should do as a manager or a coach. And starting off, I didn't have that. I had it at first, but then they made a transition and brought some other managers in. And I found myself in a little bit of a slump. And then assistant director came to me and was like, hey, you know, I see a lot of potential in you. All you have to do is just stick to the course, and I'm sure you'll be successful. So I believed in him. Actually made my transition. I started off in Dallas. Then I transferred to Athens, Georgia. And sight unseen, I chose an apartment online. Never been to Athens, Georgia a day in my life. It was a brand new dealership. So I decided to go ahead and do that. And you know, everything is history from there. So I came in, made that transition and made it work, you know, stuck to it, made sure I was a leader and also led people on the floor, and was also somebody that the whole team could lean on, and then eventually got promoted.
I love that. I love that. You've had a journey during that stage as well too, where you've had success, you had a slump, you had to, you know, put your head down and grind it up again, and then you took the next opportunity that came your way to be a manager to help to grow people. I love that, Akira. Now we're gonna switch, guys. I want you guys to, in the audience who's watching this, because Akira has given some wonderful information about his journey